service the Nigerian Army in which hitting a junior officer or any officer is offering violence, and you will be tried by a court-martial. Mr. Chairman, I was adjutant of my battalion, adjutant of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Provost Marshal Army, Adjutant General of the Nigerian Army. All these jobs were jobs given to only officers of the highest level of discipline. And you either enforced or guaranteed discipline in your unit. Mr. Chairman, I was a general officer commanding the division of the Nigerian Army. Having been a brigadier and a battalion commander. And of course, it is not normal for an officer of my stature or my training to raise his hand on a woman. And I wanted to let you know, Mr. Chairman, and my colleagues here, that we should stop in this place taking swipes at people just for the sake of the cameras. I never did. I was governor of a state. It will be most belittling of my status to raise my hand on any woman, talk less of anybody else. Secondly, or thirdly, I had a commissioner of education whom I gave strict instructions to lock out any teacher, any principal that came late to office. And so if that was the case, I take full responsibility. But I know I didn't hit any teacher, and I want that is on record. Ladies here, please know that I remain one of your best friends in this place. Thank you.
Yesterday, I've not finished my case, and the chairman is deciding my case for me. Now, back to General Ike Nwachukwu. You are discharged and acquitted.
Fellow delegates, I remain Okoh Sylvester from Edo State and a stakeholder in NAS. I have to join others to commend Mr. President on his inaugural speech. First and foremost, if not the effort of Mr. President, 18 youth would have not been nominated into this ongoing conference. This goes a long way to show the interest Mr. President has for the youth in this country. No state governor nominated a youth on the 3 nominees sent to this conference. Once again, thank you, Mr. President. For the sake of time, let me go straight to my point. First and foremost, I want a situation whereby the UBE program, which is supposed to be free to JSS 3, should be extended to SS3 to enable our children in the rural area to get free enrollment for their senior school living certificate examination, which is the qualification for employable person in Nigeria today. Again, the issue of funding and infrastructural development in our higher institution is not negotiable. Secondly, NOIC, it is my suggestion that core members should be paid with level 8 step 1 of the federal government salary scale to enable them save a lot of money to start any entrepreneurship of their choice after their service year. This will go a long way to reduce unemployment and their dependence for government job after their service year. The issue of corruption. The major causes of corruption is greed. Because we all believe that we have to own a house in all the cities in the world. Equally, to save money in all the banks in the world. But they have succeeded in causing problems to their children, who will be moving from one court to another, fighting for property, and some will even go a long way to even sell this property at a cheaper rate to other people after the death of their parents. Due to this crisis they have caused in their family and to the country, their soul will find it very difficult to rest in peace. Even though we pray for their soul to rest in peace, it will not rest in peace. My advice to my fellow delegates is to be patriotic in every decision we are going to take, because our main aim is for Nigeria to win, and we should take it as if Nigeria is playing a football match with other country, which the aim of every Nigeria is for Nigeria to win over the country, no matter the region you are from. And equally, you equally know that when Nigeria is playing a match in this country, we don't care to know if it's a Hausa man, Igbo man, or Yoruba man, or Edo man. When Osase is not playing well, as an Edo man, I will be shouting, remove Osase and put Musa. If Musa is not playing well, you see an Hausa man shouting, remove Musa and put Chinedu. I think we delegates present here today, if we decide to take it in that way, we found out at the end of the day, the consensus we are running for, we are going to get it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okoko, Professor Kimse. Okoko, Professor Kimse.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir, the Deputy Chairman, and your team, let me also add my voice. Oh, my name is Kimse Okoko, Professor of Political Science. Let me also add my voice to the overwhelming number of delegates who have congratulated Mr. President for a great speech. A speech that is consummate, patriotic, didactic, and two of potential elements in the drive for change in any society. That is idealism and reality. On page 14, 15 of his address, he mulls over 3 contending views on the nature and character of the Nigerian Constitution. Those who think that the military intervention in Nigeria is largely responsible for our present predicament. Those who attribute our problem to a fraudulent constitution, we the people. And those who think that it is the attitude and not the constitution that is responsible for our predicaments. I'd like to dwell on the third category and quickly add that I support the other 2. That is, the military intervention has set back this country many years behind. Many years behind. And those who also say that the 1999 Constitution was indeed a fraudulent document. Now, let me address the third issue. That is, those who think that it is the attitude of Nigerians, not the system of government that we run, that is responsible for the challenges confronting this country. No, it is not true. It is a system that produces the attitudes. It is not the attitudes that produce the system. In a capitalist system, it produces certain characteristic patterns of behavior and attitude. In a communist system, ditto. And at the subnational level, in the religious sector, for example, religious system, it is a religious system that creates the kinds of behavior we expect from members of that. Oh my God. Now, so that point must be considered. Now, therefore, therefore I'm saying that it is the 1999 Constitution and other constitutions preceding it that have created the massive problems we have. In a constitution that arrogates over about 68 items to the federal government and only about 30 to the states, and also making it concurrent. In other words, the federal government can legislate on all the 90 items in our constitution. How can that be a federal system? So that has led to the over-concentration of power and wealth at the center and the consequent do-or-die struggle for power in this country. Politicians have become looters. Public office holders have become looters, and they must be the governors or the presidents or the chairman of this country because that is where the money lies. And until we stop that kind of system, and until we restructure that kind of system, we will not go anywhere. For example,
please be landing now.
In Niger Delta, 546 million gallons of oil have been spilled. 546. And that region has been rendered hopeless.
Please.
So let me end up by saying, Mr. Chairman, I am impressed by the contributions of this body, especially people like Narudin. And I want to suggest that the legal framework we must provide, and therefore I'm suggesting that there should be a committee set up by this. We have eminent lawyers, members of the Senate, and
please land.
Yes.
Land. Let others.
That they should be empowered to interface with the National Assembly to ensure that the proceedings of this conference constitute the body of a new constitution. If not, this constitution.
Please wind up and sit down, please.
Yes. If not, this conference will go the same way as others. Thank you very much. I have accepted the due process.
Next, please, delegates, please make sure you keep to your time. We've still got a lot of people who have not spoken. And if you go on like this, we may not be able to finish. Then you accuse the chairman of being harsh. I don't wish to be harsh anyway. Please keep to your time. Yes, point of order. Who? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I am at the moment Oziri OFR. I'm raising point of order 10 on the last speaker. Who? 10.
They're talking.
9, 10. Who in the course of his contribution called the Nigerian Constitution fraudulent. This Nigerian Constitution is what the president who convoked this conference swore to uphold. And if the speaker could stand up to applaud the speech of Mr. President, it is absolutely indecorous to refer to such a document fraudulent. It might have its shortcomings, and we can use this occasion to correct it. I am a student of political science, not a professor. Certainly, such contributions are not expected from professors of political science. Thank you.
Thank you. Okon, Senator Anietie. Next. Okon, Senator Anietie. Speak next, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Senator Anietie Okon, the delegate representing Akwa Ibom State, South Nigeria. The expectation from us as delegate to this conference, proceeding from and galvanized to a new level of patriotic fervor by the inspiring and momentous speech of Mr. President at our inauguration is not only discernible, but achievable. My optimism is fueled by the conviction that this conference can, within its 90-day lifespan, lay the foundations and building blocks of a roadmap towards resolving all our urgent national contentions.
I believe that we can, within this time frame, be able to identify and address the impediments to our ability and capacities to develop our natural resources and our human capital in our quest to expand our economy, create wealth, and provide employment for the teeming population. The Nigerian paradox is deepened by the skewed nature of our government structure. Emanating from the transposition of the military hierarchical command systems to state policy and adapted unfittingly and unsatisfactorily to match the demands of national administration with attendant burdensomeness and inadequacies. The anomalous situation, in consequence, has yielded a central government that has become too powerful, too resource-laden, and whilst emasculating hitherto constructive and progressive competitiveness of the former federating units and their successors, has provided a springboard for pervasive and endemic corruption. The adaptation of the military command structure in the administration of the country spurred relentless erosion and usurpation of the functions and responsibilities of the states or second-level tiers of government since 1970. An incontrovertible result was the establishment of a veritable regime of reverse federalism. Dismantling this albatross will require our single-minded collective.
Inciting India and all these other places, these countries embrace their diaspora community. We have, somebody mentioned here about the Nigerian NASA expert. We have some of these specialists. If the federal government will dedicate a certain percentage of hiring from these specialists, bring them home to help us develop Nigeria, that will help Nigeria move faster into the realm of developed world. Mr. Chairman, we need to draw courage from Mr. President and for once be national patriots. Because the problem with Nigeria that I see is that you're going to find an Igbo man who will die for an Igbo cause, a Yoruba man who will die for a Yoruba cause, an Hausa man who will die for an Hausa cause. But unfortunately, you may not find one who will die for Nigeria. And that is a problem, Mr. Chairman. The Americans will die for America at any time. And they do have ethnic problems too. We have the Native Americans, we have the blacks, we have everybody.
Your time is up.
And my time, I'm looking at my American time. It's not up yet too, but I. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Let me stop. I will have to obey the chairman. In London, I will say, please, fellow delegates, diaspora or homeland, we're all the same. After all, we're all Nigerians, one country, one people, one destiny. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Chief Okoh. Akpareke, Dr. Mrs. Kate.
Mr. Chairman, sir, fellow delegates, I am Dr. Mrs. Kate Akpareke, MNI, a past president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. I'm here as a Christian leader representing CAN. I am from the Southeast. I wish to thank Mr. President for a historic and elegant speech and for giving us this rare opportunity for intense introspection in building a new Nigeria. Mr. President, on page 10 of his address, listed some concerns that should drive this discourse. That includes patriotism, justice, equity, fairness, and harmonious coexistence of our diverse groups. It is within this context, Mr. Chairman, sir, that I would like to humbly propose the many-membered human body as a template for building a new Nigeria. It is a very simple and workable solution. Because we all live in our bodies, we understand how it works. And because we know that we are made in the image and likeness of God himself, then this template must be the best functional model for building a nation of our diverse peoples. As the body has several parts and yet is one, so are we, over 250 ethnic nationalities, but yet one nation. Whether an ethnic nationality is a tiny toe, or the heart, or whatever part for that matter, every part is critically important, interdependent, and altogether we are one indivisible, indissoluble sovereign nation under God. If we accept this template, then when we go into committees, only one question will be relevant. How does the body work vis-a-vis this issue? Take the evolution of powers. The head equates to the federal government and is small in size relative to the rest of the body, but houses certain vital functions: the brain, ears, eyes, nose, mouth, the face. Our international identity is defined by the federal government, whose role should be confined to certain vital functions, such as maintaining and defending our sovereign territorial integrity, foreign affairs, matters on the legislative list, etc. Take state and religion. The federal government should only be an unbiased, non-partisan regulator that assures freedom of association and freedom of worship for all Nigerians. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, sir, we are told that by accident of history, the British created Nigeria in 1914, but we know that God is not a God of accident, but a God of purpose. We also know that every part of this country